Welcome to our 2026 podcast series. Let's start by introducing our guest from the National Retiree Legislative Network, NRLN, and American Retiree Education Foundation, AREF, Bill Cadray. Bill, tell us a little bit about both.
NRLN is a 501c4 nonprofit, Mike, a nonpartisan organization representing over 2 million seniors age 55 or over. And our members come from about 300 different companies and public entities. They span and reside over 50 states and 75% of the congressional districts in our country. They advocate to protect pensions, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and lower your prescription drug costs.
Bill, why don't you tell us what the mission of the organizations are?
The mission basically is predicated on those things that mean the most to retirees. We advocate to protect pensions, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and lower prescription drug costs.
Bill, how are you funded?
We're funded primarily by contributions from members. We do not receive any other money from corporations, insurance companies of any kind, or large donors. Our entire budget, our membership support.
That's good. Tell us a little bit more about the AREF.
The 501c3 nonprofit AREF prepares research papers and position papers for public education. Funding for that organization comes from tax-deductible donations. And those donations also come primarily from individuals of our organization who do contribute in some cases, actually part of their IRA distributions. And from other sources, we receive very little money, particularly people in the healthcare industry do not contribute at all to us.
What are the kinds of things that you deliver for that kind of money?
The AREF is involved in research, and they affiliate with a number of other organizations that also do research on income security and Medicare protections. They protect beneficiaries from companies de-risking their plans, what we call pension risk transfers, or PRTs. We try to enforce Medicare guarantee rights that protect people who lose their coverage unbeknownst to them when an insurance company terminates or non-renews their policies. We also have a white paper on protecting retirees in mergers, spin-offs, and bankruptcies. The organizations are separately financed, and I serve as president of the NRLN and chairman of the AREF.
Tell us a little bit about the political environment that we exist in today and the power that voters have. How do these organizations function for retirees?
Primarily in government, of course, we have the legislative and the executive branches. And Congress has become highly partisan and, frankly, if nothing else, anti-retiree. You hear a lot about what they're promising, but they seem to never deliver anything that has stabilized the economic position or income of retirees. And you hear about healthcare performance and reductions in costs. They're not there. And so primarily, we've lost a great deal of attention on the national stage.
Are all the benefits that seniors currently have guaranteed?
Those covered by the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, ERISA, protect those over age 65 when they have defined benefit pensions. But we represent people that are 65 plus. We also represent people that are under age 65. And a big issue there, of course, is even planning for retirement. There's very little evidence that people have enough money to retire. And so I don't think, if you look across the board, that retirees get very good service there, and there's need for an improved savings mechanisms.
Do we have a kind of disconnect in Congress between the needs of retirees and what they're doing?
Yeah, sure. Politicians think on a 2-year or 6-year cycle. Members of the House are elected for 2 years, and members of the Senate are elected for 6 years. And the seniors, though, have to plan the rest of their lives and for their children and grandchildren. So the perception is entirely different. It's easy to duck an issue when you're on the job for just 2 years and you're gone. It's not so easy if you have 25 years left to go and you're wondering how much money you're going to have in the till when you retire and how your kids are going to fare down the road.
Or how you're going to fare.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, what's been happening in Congress and the executive branch that puts our pensions, our Social Security, our Medicare at risk?
I would say there's been an awful lot of political rhetoric. There's too much infighting. What do we hear on TV and what do we see on TV every day? Somebody is hollering and calling someone else up to be chastised in front of a committee for doing something on a personal basis. There's more of that going on than there is problem solving. And you match that with the amount of over-the-top campaign contributions coming from industrial organizations such as the healthcare insurance industry, and you have a Congress that gets compromised. And very many people in Congress today really are there to do the job they took an oath for to do.
You mean very few people are there?
Very few of them, of course, do that kind of a job that they took the oath for. Examples are, of course, funding Social Security and funding Medicare. It's just outrageous how Congress has kicked the can down the road.
Now, what is the power of the senior voters?
Yeah, it's very interesting. In the last presidential election, 65 million voters were age 55 to 65. That was 40% of all votes cast in that election of 166 million votes. 41% of them were between 55 and 65. Another 42 million voters were over age 65, 29%. So combined, 110 million, or 66% of all voters, were cast by seniors 55 years and older. The seniors in this country need to wake up to the fact that they're about to lose their Medicare. They're about to be challenged every time there's a presidential election about those two fundamental programs that are mandatorily funded. That means that Congress shouldn't walk away from a mandatory obligation, but they do.
How do you think our National Retirees Legislative Network members should fight back?
Well, today there are several ways they can do it. Many attend town hall meetings where they live. They belong to the NRLN, and we are their advocate. We work hard on the issues that are very important to them. And so we use what's called an action alert system, which is an email to our grassroots members, asking them to make direct contact with their personal elected representatives in Washington to send a message to them on a particular issue, such as Social Security, Medicare, and RX drugs. The members send personal emails to U.S. senators, representatives, federal agencies, and the president, in fact.
Now, is that system through your website?
Absolutely.
So that the member who wants to contact the representatives in Congress or the president directly can create the message through your website, and they don't have to bother looking up the addresses, finding a stamp, taking
Absolutely.
it to the envelope.
Absolutely. We have a system available where our members can go up and construct their own message, their own representative, and send it by themselves. In addition to that, when we suggest that they take action and we present them with a message they can send to their elected representatives, they have the ability to edit it, to personalize.
So we have a system that retirees have a simple method to contact the representatives about issues which will affect them in their pocketbooks.
Absolutely.
Retirement income from Social Security or pensions, and the cost of Medicare and drugs.
Absolutely. It's available 24/7, 365 days a year on the website. They have the access, and all they simply do is go up and click on NRLN.org and go into the legislative agenda action alert, and they can pick any action alert, or they can create their own message and send it to their elected representatives. And they can talk with their friends and their neighbors, and they can all converse and decide, this is an important issue. We'd like to use that vehicle. And so they sign up and become members of the NRLN and have that access.
So joining the NLRN, is that done on the website?
Absolutely.
And
NRLN.org.
NRLN.
That's correct.
Very simple. Everyone should do it. And you don't have to be 65 to do it, do you?
Oh, no. You better start doing it at 55 because you're still in the savings mode, and what you don't see coming down the road will become visible to you. So you do a better job of planning ahead for your own financial success.
As you see it, who is this podcast dedicated to?
It's dedicated really to the hardworking people who are our grassroots members, because they can be most influential back home with their members of Congress. And congressmen and senators are concerned about what they have to say. It's just that they don't do much about it.
Bill, what are the indicators of what politicians should have been doing over the past 55 years regarding Medicare and Social Security?
It is a proven fact that Congress and the executive branch of the government in the United States have been well aware that these plans could be underfunded over time because they had the data. They had the census reports. They had the trustees' reports of all of these programs. And they saw, you can visually see, that years back when they didn't fund, kicked the can down the road, and to protect themselves as being viewed as supporting a tax increase, they basically ignored the reality of financial calculations that someday these reserves will be zero. And we've reached that point.
I guess at this point, we want to show our listeners a chart, okay, that compares the 2020 census, total population, and growth rate. And Bill, why don't you explain what our listeners are seeing on the chart now?
Sure. The population grows, as you can tell, about 26 million from 2025 out through 2050 on this chart. And it's growing slowly at a constant rate that is much lower, however, than the prior years. If you look at 2020, for example, it grew at 3.4% from previous year. This is total population. So the total population is growing slowly because, as you can see from that orange line there,
That's the population growth.
that's the population growth rate, and it shows that from 2025 out through 2050, it's well below 2% a year, which is less than half the growth rate that we've seen prior to 2025. And so naturally, the population is shrinking, and so seniors become a larger and larger percent of the population. And so that's a very important factor. Now, when you look at this second chart,
Let's bring up the second chart.
you can see the components of this chart, and you can see from it the baby boomers in orange out in 2015 were 24.1% of the population, 78 million people. And everyone say the baby boomers are the biggest problem going on here. In fact, they're really not anymore, because by 2028, where the two lines, the blue line and the orange line, cross, all baby boomers in the United States of America will be over age 65 and in Medicare. That presents, even with the slow growth in population and the large growth in the number of people over age 65 moving forward, you can see the population in the blue chart, blue lines and the blue stacks, grows by 23.9%, while the baby boomers shrink down to 5% out in 2050. The phenomena there that's happening you can't really see is that the people in orange, or people over age 65 in orange, and the people who are baby boomers are now older, and they consume a great deal more of the Medicare services and the cost. Mike, I think it would surprise people to learn that 80% of every dollar spent for health care by the government is spent on only 25% of the people in Medicare over 60. So 25% of the people consume 80% of the cost of our budget. Our Congress has known this for 15 or 16 years, and they've done nothing about it. They knew that the cost per enrollee, the cost per head count in people over age 65 was going to be a major problem, and yet they resisted and did not fund these plans, and now they have to pay a price. One way or the other, they're going to have to increase taxes, or they're going to have to make radical changes, and they should not do it to benefits. Okay.
I thought our government is sold out to higher cost insurance companies. So now our taxpayers are paying 20% more than they need to.
It's exactly right. If you look at the privatization of Medicare today that has occurred, the government payments to Medicare private plans, also known as Medicare Advantage plans, has subsidized the American insurance companies to the point where now 16% of every dollar paid to them covers their entire overhead and profit. And that today, the cost per enrollee in these private plans is 20% higher than the cost in original Medicare. And it's costing $89 billion a year in subsidies called rebates that go to insurance companies that are unwarranted. And if they're looking for more money to fund these plans, there's $100 billion. Mike,
how much money did you say?
$100 billion almost a year in 2 years. The latest budget for 2025 projected a deficit loss of $3.4 trillion over the next 10 years. $1.2 trillion of that $3.4 trillion is increases in rebates paid to insurance companies. Big hole, it's 20% deeper than our fee-for-service would be.
Why are our representatives, politicians, agreeing to pay all this money to insurance companies?
They're agreeing to do it because they want to privatize Medicare. They do not want the federal budget to have Medicare on its books. You will hear some people say, oh, we're not going to cut your benefits. But what they're not saying is we're just going to kill Medicare.
Yeah, they're not going to cut your benefits today.
That's right.
Tomorrow, we're going to kill them.
Tomorrow, the whole plan goes. We'll never cut your benefits one at a time. We're just going to take the whole plan out from under.
That would be terrible. That would mean people would have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for...
Absolutely. In this case, just a simple comparison here. They'd have to make up the difference in that 20% loss already. They'd have to make up the difference over the next 10 years for a $1.2 trillion loss, increased deficit, just because of those rebates. And the problem is that after 54 years, they now have 55% market share, when initially they planned and promised that if they could gain market share, they would show us how they would reduce costs in Medicare. Just give us these subsidies, give us these rebates, and we'll show you. It's failed. It's over. The real problem is, will our elected officials and our executives in this country, in the government, have the guts to tell the insurance companies, you can continue to compete all you want to. We want you to compete, but not with taxpayer money. No more rebates.
So that really should be
That's a
first thing.
Big issue, Mike.
Is there anything else, Bill, that you want to tell our listeners during this first full episode?
Yeah, I think watch out in the future for our podcasts regarding Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid funding, and the cost of prescription drugs. Much of what we just talked about in Social Security, Medicaid funding is the center of the future presentations. And so you'll want to call back to this presentation, this episode. Finally, as the ending of this podcast, please support the NRLN and do it quickly because we have a big job ahead of us. We appreciate you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks again, Bill. We're going to be back in 2 weeks with another episode, so look for us again.
Stepping out the door with a dream in our hearts. Golden years are here, but this is just the start. We've worked hard, now it's time to play. Building up our future in a brighter way. Warmth of the sun as we stroll down the lane. Planning for the things that we can attain. With smiles on our faces, we embrace the day. Life's a canvas now, we're painting it our way. Better days ahead, we're creating the dream. With protection and care, we're a mighty team. Income flowing strong, health on our side. Living healthy lifestyles with love as our guide. Hear the laughter ringing from friends all around. In community gardens where joy can be found. We're sharing our stories filled with past hopes. In this vibrant life, we manage our scopes. From yoga in the park to cooking classes too. Every new adventure brings a bright view. Holistic health matters, we're learning each day. Making choices that matter in every way. Better days ahead, we're creating the dream. Oh, with protection and care, we're a mighty team. Oh, income flowing strong, health on our side. Living healthy lifestyles with love as our guide. Oh, oh, hey, hey. We invested hope, not fear. Through laughter and kindness, we find our way, building a life where we're free to sway. So let's lift our voices, let's dance in the sun, celebrating life and all we've done. With every heartbeat, we cherish this ride, creating better paths with passion inside. Better days ahead, we're creating the dream. Oh, with protection and care, we're a mighty team. Oh, income flowing strong, health on our side, living healthy lifestyles with love as our guide. So here's to the future, where dreams come alive. Together we can thrive and effortlessly strive. In harmony we flourish, with hope in our hands. Better days ahead, we're taking a stand.